Yesterday it brought us the Terex and Moleman buffs, which isn't something that's overly extensive, especially because it's all about creating more damage potential for those champions. So in this video we're going to be looking over Yellowjacket, which is one of the ones that's had more of a rework to it. Yellowjacket, as we know, is incredibly bland when it comes to delivery, but there is potential for the usage of things like Power Sting and how that works. Something that's recently been done is with Spider Ham, where it punishes a lot for special delivering, and as well the damage that goes directly back to the champion after throwing a special. So we have high hopes that this champion can replicate or enough do more than is expected from its current kit, which is literally nothing. It looks like the improvements to the kit at Yellowjacket are stipulated to things like nuclear cores and burst damage, and reverse opponents' healing abilities with Petrify, but also the way that this champion can be used as a defender and as well take on mystic type champions. It looks like right off the get-go the champion has a good amount of energy resistance and physical resistance, which is massive. That's a massive amount, especially as this is based off of a rank 5 level 65 5-star champion. So yeah, it's pretty impressive to see those numbers as well. It also looks like the champion is going to be quite formidable against those that regen. Even as the developer says here, pair the reduced regen rate with the SP2, Petrify, and have your regen worries disappear. And that goes hand in hand with nuclear core, which you start off with with charge of 40, overheat points 100 plus. For each charge, increase the potency of personal debuffs by 1% and reduce opponent's regeneration rate by 1%. Either champion land a hit, 1+1 charge, 60% chance. Opponent launches special attacks plus 10 charges, 100% chance. And then how the meltdown works, as soon as you build the charges, when charge is gained above the overheat point, which is plus 100, there's a chance to enter meltdown for 12 seconds. Chances increase with charge. While meltdown is active, any contact with the opponent has 75% chance to inflict a burst of physical damage on them. When meltdown ends, reset core back to starting charge. It's a clever nod to stuff that we've seen with the Ant-Man movie, the Yellowjacket suit, and as well the pin particles, or the kind of I don't know, this nuclear element and the power nature, or how the Yellowjacket suit is powered. So that's clever enough. It also looks like the champion is going to be rendered a little bit weak. The enemy champion, that is, when it comes to the unblockable special attacks. Incoming unblockable special attack, it's just basically saying like reduce the opponent's attack rating by 75%. That's a very nice reduction. Also, the champion can take on, obviously you do sacrifice some of your nuclear cores for it, but also the interaction with mystic champions is going to be quite important as well. We're saying personal debuffs trigger when the attack is launched instead of on hit, and they are paused for the duration of the attack. So it's good really to have this kind of class advantage and takedown, which is, there's only a very few number of champions that have this kind of like one-upmanship for the class. I think it's more than that. I think it's probably like 20 champions, but at least if we're talking like science to mystic ratio, there's a very few. But yeah, it looks like the special attacks are quite nice, with inflicting up to 3 Power Sting debuffs. Each we're having a 90% chance to activate in the last 10 seconds on an opponent with Power Sting. Takes 1,878 direct damage if the attack if they activate a special attack. Okay, so we'll have to kind of like see how this works with the Power Sting. Power Sting has been one of the fundamental things of damage output for this champion. So I really would like to see the extent of like how much more greater, and as well will it be more substantial, especially with how this works in with the signature ability. SP 200% chance to inflict the Petrified debuff. Great, that's handy for a lot of stuff, especially against champions that are mystic related. So champions like let's see, regeneration wise, well, Mephisto, would you take it against Mephisto? Maybe. Would you take it up against Morningstar? Possibly. You know, there's a load of champions you could take against this that are mystic related that regen. I'm just trying to think of like some others. Black Widow Clairvoyant. There must be a lot more than that. SP 300% chance to inflict an indefinite Power Sting debuff, causing 5k direct damage to the opponent if they activate a special. Okay, so it's like, it's potent enough. But this is where the signature ability comes in, and I'm glad that Kabam have kind of like done something with signature abilities of champions, especially because a lot of players do have an awakened Yellowjacket, and as well looking at this being SP1 Power Sting has 100% chance to inflict a 2.10 second stun debuff if it expires after lasting its full duration. So before, and now we don't need that, or do we need that? I can't remember, God. But the SP2 gains a +5 core charge when Petrify ends. Good, that tops you back up again. And SP3 Power Sting has 100% chance to reapply itself once triggered. Chance decreases 0%. The SP3 paired with the high signature ability level will lead to a ton of free damage in longer fights. That could be quite fun to deal with and do. So yeah, I definitely like the way the champion scales up, and especially with this overheating, which is similar in some ways to Punisher 2099 and the battery charging, except for with this one it's all about physical damage that then is inflicted as a result you know, of interaction, any contact with the opponent. So you know, just doing some basic hits and just doing some more physical damage can see a nice little ramp up. And sounds pretty cool, but it will just be a case of we'll have to play this to really get an idea if this is any good. But the great thing is, right off the bat, there's a little bit of utility and fun with the champion. Yellowjacket's heavy attack, 100% chance to spend 10 core charges to inflict a slow debuff for 10 seconds, preventing evader unstoppable effects from activating. Opponents with a natural class advantage cannot be slowed. Wow, okay, that is cool to have. I like the fact this is putting some extra utility. There's also like a few other bits of synergies, nothing really too substantial, but enough to kind of like help you out. And it's going to be very specific as to like who you take in with any kind of fight. Will this be extras on your team? But Power of Money, Joe Fixit, Yondu, Kingpin, Taskmaster, Villain Champions plus 5% attack rating. Nice. Yellowjacket inflicting a debuff grants 10 core charges. Again, nice, helpful, but I don't know if I could ever see myself putting a Joe Fixit, a Yondu to a degree. Kingpin, we'll have a look at the buffs in a minute for sure, but I think, yeah, Kingpin will probably be the only person I'd put on a team with this, especially to synergize. And yeah, there are another kind of ways like, you know, there you go, nuclear core charge, start charge, overheat point are increased by 10. So there's helpful stuff there. I just think that it's just a difficult one to go, I want to put this on my team. But look, you know, Magneto on a team with him, yeah, of course. Kingpin, yes, the others, debatable. And now let's look over Kingpin. So according to the mechanics, Kingpin now is a master of debuffs. Build them on yourself and convert them into a massive overpower fury. Using the unstoppable from his SP2 and heavy attack, pressure your opponents into submission and gain massive bonuses. Weave in some special one attacks and tanking a few hits during your heavy attack will result in much lower damage received. Not the same fundamentals of the champion have been left as they were before, where the champion was able to shrug off things like debuffs, which is cool. It's just a case of like where the front end damage is and will there be much more. So quite annoyingly, it looks like this problem that we had before about champions. If you remember, I'm just trying to remember what champion it was. I think it's Daredevil Hell's Kitchen, where the base regeneration rate is set at 50% instead of normal 100%. I think that's something that's kind of annoying to people that are Suicide Master users. Immune to all effects that modify regeneration rate except poison. So I think that is a killer for those that do Suicide Masteries, I want to say. But look, if you're non-suicides like myself currently, then Kingpin can gain Rage, which is a debuff with no inherent effect. Kingpin gains a non-rage debuff, 50% chance to purify it and gain a rage cooldown. One rage cooldown 0.5 seconds. Gain rage, enemies evade or auto block, gain rage. So those are the things that build rage. And if I scroll down a bit more, then I will see that Kingpin purifies 8 debuffs to grant 100% chance to gain an overpower buff. So this is the time when you get the buff, you do the more damage, is great. So there's going to be scenarios where this champion is going to be pretty funky for those debuff interactions. So I'm looking forward to using that champion. I may even use it in a few like map 6 interactions and stuff like that. So that's going to be cool. While charging heavy attack, Kingpin gains a physical resistance and gains an unstoppable buff. That is actually really handy. There's some content especially that this would be ideal for. And if you look at Magneto being such an option for, is it can't stop, won't stop? And especially when you're looking at the, was it villains, one of the last variant? It's going to be a pretty decent champion to use in for that. Man, that's so good. And as well, but going further, to have 100% chance to gain a Fury buff granting attack rating. So imagine that, overpower and at heavy attacks. Man, I have to check whether or not I got a 6-star of this champion, because I am very tempted in the damage rotation and the damage capabilities this guy can possess. But yeah, SP1 a blast. It's we know what it looks like. Chance to inflict a degen debuff, causing that's a nice amount of debuff degeneration damage. While degeneration active, the opponent suffers a lower attack rating and defensive ability accuracy. Ooh, interesting for interactions, I must admit. I tell you what, this guy is already quite impressing me, which is nice. 100% chance to gain an unstoppable buff lasting 7.5 seconds off the SP2. Nice, helpful. And then you get a chance to get rage, so that's good. SP3 is that, and also stun debuff as well. Nice. Refresh all overpower buffs. Excellent. You just build up to an SP3 and rotate. Nice. I really like that. And then the signature ability. If the champion's not stonking enough, Fisk springs his ill intent upon the contest, entering the fight with 2 to 4 rage active. So it's like a persistency? The champion's persistent? Nice. When his overpower ends, he has a chance to gain up to 5 rages, with each having a 50 to 90% chance to activate. So enter the fight with 2 to 4 rage active. So that's, well, I guess it's not really persistent, but it would just be interesting to see like how this works. I think the number changing will be when Kingpin overpower ends, he has a chance to gain up to 5 rages, with each having a 50 to 90% chance to activate. So whether or not you have to awaken it further, or have more signatures in, sorry, to get yourself the increased 90% chance to activate, that was something to be seen. But man, let's have a look at some of the synergies with the champion. That while unstoppable, Kingpin gains attack rating and cannot be passively evaded. Man, that's nice. If they could give him more, they really stumped his power levels, his attack rating levels. Sorry, that's mega. Daredevil, Hell's Kitchen, when struck or blocking an attack, 50% chance to gain a 5-second non-stacking rage debuff with no effect, and then competition. Then yeah, I mean, look, again, it boils down to who you're going to take into for a team. Am I really going to, you know, put Joe Fixit and Hood? Maybe Hood, but apart from that, I'm not really interested. And yeah, there's nothing really there that's going to interest me. But man, willpower recommended. But yeah, I'm impressed. The damage output potential this champion has is just wow. Just wow. Just impressive. I'm just looking forward to this champion being released to have a go and you know, see what it's like. Yeah. Which champion do you think is the best from what you've seen today? I'll tell you one thing though, out of the champions, of all 4 champions, I don't have any of them as 6 stars, but I really would want a Kingpin. Kingpin looks on the front end just a nice damage dealer. And I think that it will be one of these champions I would really love month in, month out taking into content. So, I don't know, I'm kind of interested with some 6-star basics. However, though, with the way that Kabam have put some of the rework champions or buff champions into the crystal pools for featured, it could be a case the next 6-star featured is actually going to be very appetizing for players. But in any case, I digress. Thank you very much for watching this video, looking at the spotlight and the changes to these champions. And we'll see you all next week for some footage and stuff like that. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.